So today we have the Losi 5T back on the bench. I need to pull the motor and find out what's going on with that noise. I'm thinking either a rock got jammed up in the clutch, or it's got some hardware coming undone. So with it being so big, the easiest place to work on it is in my garage instead of on my workbench. So I have my portable table out. We're going to pull the remainder fuel out of this thing. This is how I pull the fuel out. There's not much in here, but I don't want any chance of it spilling. Ooh, is my hose leaking? Since I just ran it, there's a little leftover fuel in it. And that's how I get the fuel out. Keep those tanks drained. This way when I'm flipping it over and that kind of stuff, it's not all leaking out. Now I did blow it out yesterday and found that there was grass everywhere. So I've never really worked on one of these, but how hard can it be, right? Can't imagine it being that difficult. But we're gonna give it a shot. I've honestly never taken one of these apart. So we're gonna give it a shot. I honestly, you know, that's one thing I try to stress about this. You don't have to know how to work on the RC. Just get into it. I'm taking out 3 bolts for the throttle linkage right here because I can see it's attached to the clutch housing. And I do see these little, it says 20. So I don't know if that's a 20 tooth, but the 20 is facing in towards the bracket. So I'm going to leave it like this so I know. And then I'll put the other 2 bolts here because, like I said, I've never worked on this thing before. And we're going to lay everything out that way. And once you get to working on something enough, you'll know. So I think I should pull this this cover here for the gear, just so I can see it. Looks like there's 2 bolts holding this pinion cover. Could be more. Oh, that bolt fell out. did it go? There it is. So these two will be for this cover. There's a bolt here for the fuel lines. Actually, I'm going to put this bolt back in. There's one next to it that takes the whole bracket off rather than splitting the lines from the holder. So I always say just look it over and see what's going on. Yep, that took these fuel lines loose. So the next thing I'm going to do is, I wonder if these fuel lines will pop off. Yeah, they will. Pop the fuel lines off. And there's a throttle linkage bolt. Looks like with the washer and a nut. So I'm going to throw that bolt back in there to hold that nut. Because I can feel a nut on the bottom. Yep. And then this thing will slip off. So just one bolt that holds it to the servo. Little steering rod, or steering throttle rod. And it looks like I have everything disconnected from the motor. So the next thing I'm going to do is flip it over. And it looks like there's 4 bolts here. And it looks like all the 20s are facing me. I see a little bit of fuel leaking. Four bolts. Then these inserts. And I'm gonna hold this motor. There we go. So here's our pinion. A little bit of play in it. Hopefully I got the right sockets for all this stuff. Feels like there's Loctite on it. It wasn't loose. That's weird. So it is red Loctite. It's slotted. That bearing looks okay, but that's a funky looking gear. You can see the grass that gets shoved in this motor. There's your fan. So look how open it is down here. And see, here's where I was worried about junk getting in. You got all these little fins. Yeah, see, it's rubbing. It's rubbing. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Right there. Rubs. Rubs. That's that noise I'm hearing, I think. Oh, maybe not, because the gear should pull it away. Now the gear was a little sloppy. I don't know. Let's take a look. Loctite on these bolts too. Well, I don't see anything in the clutch. Definitely was dirty. You can see where it's hitting on the shoe. It's only grabbing right there and right there. The rest of this hasn't even been touched because it hasn't been run that long. No hot spots or burnt marks on it. So I could probably could have kept this gear on. Might need to shim this gear. Tighten this gear back down. Check the play, because it had to play in and out. Not too bad. Feels smooth. Bearing feels okay. That's got to go down. Yeah, definitely smooth. Yeah, I don't feel any problem with it. There's a lot of grass in the motor though. I wonder if it was just all the grass that was in here. I really should put some mesh around this. I know somebody was saying definitely get the outer wears for this, because all the dirt, debris, and cooling fan is right there, and all the grass and stuff will get right into this. So, and I think they sell outerwears for this, but I can see a ton of grass in there. Guess the stuff I couldn't get out from the exhaust. up in there. What the heck is that? It's like grain packing foam or something in there. Well, that's kind of terrible if you got to right off the bat, before you even run this thing. I mean, if you run it in dirt or anything, everything's going to get caked in there. It's going to cause this thing to overheat. Well, there we go. I don't really see any other problems. So, I mean, this thing does have a center diff. So I should probably check the center diff fluid, I guess. I don't even know if it's a diff. Oh yeah, really thin fluid too, whatever's in that center. There's stuff all up in the brake too. Grass. Well, I know the first time I ran this in some pretty wet grass. I've run it in wet grass that I just ended up with grass everywhere. Servo saver looks like the spring's adjustable to where I could tighten it up. That's pretty cool. But I'm gonna go ahead and look at the size of this spur gear. That thing is huge. And that diff, whatever that diff is, it's definitely some pretty thin fluid. So while I'm this far, I think our next thing is I might check this. I can pull the whole center diff up. I'm hoping, because I do have these brakes that are here too. Hopefully I don't have to take the brakes apart. But there we go, guys. Looks like it's just probably grass in there. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing all cleaned up. Maybe turn on the camera if I look at the center diff now, or if we're just gonna go out and run it again. I'm hoping there's fluid in that center diff. It feels really thin. If you pick up the rear, you see how easy it is to drive that diff, and that means it's killing a bunch of power. So I really need to stiffen up that diff fluid that's in there. It feels like there's not much diff fluid in there, if it's even a differential. I don't know, might throw some earplugs in it to give it some more drive, but if I might do that on the next video. So I did a video on pulling this 5T motor, but I think the noise is coming from the center diff. Center diff is dry. Now the motor and clutch did have grass in it, but the center diff is so soft, all the power is getting lost right there. Looks like I'm gonna have to do a diff on a 5T. Look at the size of that spur gear. All right, pop the diff out for you guys. Just cracked it open, got it out of the 5T. That's the front brake. That's the rear brake. And as you can see, it's only half full. So, spider gears. See, I can turn it with one hand, holding it with my pinky. That's how soft it is. So we're gonna go ahead, fill this thing up, throw a couple earplugs in it, try to stiffen it up. This is a plastic case. You don't want to go too strong, or you can grenade this case. So might look into getting a metal center diff, because plastic I don't think is the way to go. Even the Arma's got metal on them. But there we go, just a little update on the 5T. Got it all torn down, and I've only run this thing 3 times since I bought it. About 3 tanks of gas through it. So there we go. It's not leaking, it just looks like they come half full. And it is pretty thick fluid. You can see all the air pockets in it from me spinning it. Looks like 1 million. If that. Maybe 500,000. I don't know. Pretty thin fluid. Pretty beefy gears though. Maybe a metal center diff is what it needs. But we'll go ahead and stiffen it up and see if it holds. Quick little update. But there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. Get in the garage. Do some RC. Do some wrenching. Don't be scared to work on something you never worked on before. It's all relatively easy. If man put it together, man can fix it. Or woman. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys on my next video.